But think about your demons that bound to catch up one day. I'd rather see you stand up in the face than run away. I understand this message is not the coolest to stay, but if you're down to try, I know for a better way. Meditate. What's good, hip hop? What is good? It's your boy Rob D in the building for episode 13 of the Transformation of Hip Hop. We are making a stop in the Ville with J. Cole, one of the coldest rappers in hip hop and probably in the history of hip hop, but definitely one of the three kings and the queens series that we have for the last 4 episodes. So thank you all for tuning in. J. Cole, man, the first time I heard J. Cole actually was in 2009, and that was on Jay-Z's Blueprint 3. He was on a song on Jay's album called A Star Was Born, and it was kind of catchy, kind of hooky, and I was like, yo, who is this dude? Like, this new kid. Okay, well, let me keep my eyes on him. I did not know at that time that J. Cole was going to be the man that he is now, way back in 2009, signed to Rock Nation, and has given us a lot to think about in these past 10 years into the future of hip hop. So my special guest today, one needs no introduction, one does because he's new to the platform. We got Mac Xavier in the building. You already know what it is, man. And I recruited Mac Xavier for this episode because he reminds me a lot of J. Cole. Like, if you all listen to Mac Xavier's music, you're going to see a lot of parallels in his style, his rhyme patterns, his cadence. Very much mirrors J. Cole. So he's making his 4th appearance on the podcast. So he's definitely an alumni, one of the beloved guests that we've had on the platform. And then we have a new guest coming on. Restarts coming in from the Midwest as well. He's coming to hang out with us. We're doing restarts back to back. We're doing running back series of Reed next week. And I'm going to bring these folks in so you all can meet them, feel them, see what's good. And we're going to go ahead and start with Reed first. Reed, talk to the folks, man. What's good, big homie? Introduce yourself and give us a little bit about how or why you fell in love with this great culture we call hip hop.
Hi, everyone. Name's Reed Starks, 21-year-old rapper, artist from the Midwest, specifically Central Illinois, 217.
Right.
Fell in love with hip hop one day, writing down, say about 7 years old. Big grunge guy, so I always listen to grunge. Wasn't really put on to hip hop like that. And I've been around it all my life because Eminem and everything. But I wasn't really embedded into it like I was that day when we rode the Chevy down Dirksen Parkway in Springfield. And my stepdad blasting Kanye's Graduation and Nas's Illmatic with New York State of Mind being my favorite song ever. And when I heard that verse, when I heard New York State of Mind, I was like, okay, if this is what it's about, it's definitely what I want to tap into. And then ever since, I never looked back. It's always wanted to get back to the culture of hip hop. I just want to know deeper roots of it, everything. So I'm happy for you bringing me on today to discuss everything. So, and I love your platform and I've heard about you, so I'm happy to be on here.
Word, you're now a part of that story, man. You're part of the alumni family. So thank you for your passion. Thank you for being a young mind. We got probably one of the younger cats we've had on the platform. So I love to hear from the new generation and how they view hip hop. So thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Mac Xavier, an alumni with that Diggie Intro t-shirt on and everything, man. What's good, big homie? What's been going on with you, Mac? What's happening, bro? What's good? Talk to the folks, man.
What's up, family? Man, I'm happy to be back, man. You know, it's always love when I can come on and talk hip hop. You know, I love talking hip hop, music in general, but especially hip hop. Honestly, man, I've just been trying to get settled. For people who don't know, I just moved from Georgia a few months ago. So I just moved out here to Texas, man. So I'm trying to get settled, trying to get everything situated. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm happy to be here. I love talking hip hop with you, man. I love what you're doing. I love your grind. I love your hustle, man. So I respect it. If y'all don't know, man, Rob is one of the dopest podcasters in the business, period. Podcast, no matter what podcast you're talking about, man, Rob is one of the dopest. So it's truly a pleasure, man. And he's a dope person too, dope individual as well. So it's an honor to be here, man. I'm happy to be back talking with y'all hip hop, man, for real.
Word, man. That's love, Mac. Thank you so much. And just for anybody else, for any context, just recently the podcast just hit number 15 on the Apple Podcast charts, man. So we still grinding. So that's a testament to all of you, all the listeners, the followers, watching us move and talk about hip hop. And we appreciate you all. And also, hopefully everybody had a great Father's Day when you're watching this, and hope you had a great Freedom Day for Juneteenth as well too. Love to see how our United States are celebrating Juneteenth and giving back to our ancestry and showing how much that African American culture means to the story of the United States. So thank you. Hope you ever had a great holiday weekend. We got to get to J. Cole, right? Let's get to the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Roll that tail of the tape real quick. J. Cole is a $60 million net worth as of 2022. 9-time BET Award Hip Hop winner, 1-time Billboard Award winner, 1-time Grammy, which we'll get into in a second. He is a part of the 2010 XXL freshman class. And we're going to talk about J. Cole in the time period of the transformation. He dropped the Cole World September 2011, Sideline Story, 1-time platinum album, which, y'all know the hits, man. Can't Get Enough, Betray Song, Sideline Story, Mr. Nice Watts with J-Hope, In the Morning with Drake, and Nobody's Perfect with Missy. And one of my favorites is Workout, which kind of towards the end of the album. A great way for him to introduce himself to the hip hop culture at that time. Then he graduated to Born Sinner, June of 2013, 2-time platinum album. Y'all know the hits, man. Landed the Snakes with that Outkast sample. Power Trip with Miguel. She Knows, Forbidden Fruit with K-Dot, which is a sample from the Tribe Called Quest, Electric Relaxation, for those of you that are hip hop heads out there. Crooked Smile with TLC, and He Let Nas Down, which I see a lot of. When J. Cole was coming up, Nas was one of his idols, and he felt like he let Nas down. And then he made another track afterwards, talk about how he made Nas proud, I think is what the other one's actually called after that. Then a transformation of J. Cole takes place. And what I mean by transformation, I think more of a maturation process takes place. He drops on us 2014 Forest Hills Drive, a 3-time platinum album, his most successful album to date, released in December of 2014. And we're going to talk a lot about that particular album. That album, in my eyes, is the best in his catalog and probably one of the top 10 albums in this time period of hip hop. Wet Dreams, talking about the first time he had sex, A Tale of Two Cities, which everybody has used that track to make remixes and things like that. Firing Squad, Saint-Tropez, On His Way to Hollywood. I love Saint-Tropez. That song is so fire. JMOD, and y'all read between the lines. Y'all know what that means. No Role Models, rest in peace to Uncle Phil. Apparently Love Yours. I mean, that album is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal body of work in hip hop. Definitely one of the top 10 in that time period. And then in July 2016, there were talks about J. Cole retiring from hip hop, which is a comment through the rumor mill. Then he decided to come back and do For Your Eyes Only in December 2016. 1-time platinum album. For Your Eyes Only was dedicated to his daughter because he wanted to leave a body of work behind for her to look back and look at J. Cole and his artistry. Deja Vu, which is a kind of a there was some controversy back and forth between the sample with him and Bryson Tiller Exchange. Kind of sounds like very much the same, but very, very good song nonetheless. Bill Mentality, She's Mine 1 and 2, and The Neighbors Think I'm Selling Dope. That's one of my favorite songs on there. And then my favorite J. Cole album is KOD. 1-time platinum in April 2018. I think the whole album is actually a run, to be honest. The only song I really don't feel always was Motivate, but the rest of the album is fire. KOD, Photograph, The Cutoff, ATM, Kevin's Heart, Brackets, Once an Addict, Friends, which is how I started the episode off, which is a snippet from Friends. 1985, I'm Alive. And then after that was July 2019, Revenge of the Dreamers Part 3. 1-time platinum album, Under the Sun with the Baby, Costa Rica. And of course, one of his favorite songs is The Middle Child. We'll talk about that here in this episode also. And then what I also put down is a couple of singles where you got some features on. I only want to give it to you with El Varner back in 2012. The Party joint with him and Beyonce. Everybody knows about him in Planes with Jeremiah. Come Through and Chill with Miguel. A Lot with 21 Savage, which is where his Grammy comes from. The London with Young Thug. Album of the Year Freestyle from the Uchi Wally joint, which is nasty, so nasty. Pablo Boat with him and Royce the 5'9", which is another song y'all need to go back and listen to if you're a hip hop head. And one of my favorites is his song with Boss. My N-word just made bail. And he says, free your mind, everything will follow, won't you? That was my shit, man. That is my shit. So that's the premise for Jermaine Cole. Shout out to Supreme Gene too, man. Always talking about those snippets about when J. Cole drops an album, man. So shout out to them fellas for doing supporting J. Cole throughout his entire career. But where do we start, y'all? Where do we start? Reed, where do we start? Let's start with this, man. What is I do 2 parts. Tell us about the first time you actually heard J. Cole, what impressed you about him, and what are some of the verses or or lyrics that come to mind on some of the songs that he's written in the past 10 years?
Like you said, the first time I actually heard him was A Star Is Born, because I'm a big Hov fan. I was kind of like you. I was like, all right, he's kind of nice. Like, I didn't know him at first, but I was like, if Jay-Z's trusted him to hop on a track, because not the rumor, but I think like the fact is that he wrote the verse while he was in the studio with him making the song, which makes it even more legendary because that's Hov sitting in front of you and you're making a verse from your own mind in front of one of the greatest of all time, and he approved of it and you recorded it. So that already goes him as it is. But yeah, that was the first time I heard him. Then I really delved into him, the Sideline Story, all bunch of good tracks. I feel like it was kind of like he had to have that mainstream one to push him a little bit. Understood that. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Born Sinner, I'm on the teeter of liked it and really loved it.
Yeah.
Or loved it. Then when he transitioned to Old Man Dread J. Cole, basically, the game was on notice. That man, he has some of my favorite verses from the, Forest Hills Drive, For Your Eyes Only, KOD in the off season, and with The Revenge of the Dreamers 3, which is one of my favorite, if not my favorite collabs, like put together projects of all time.
Absolutely.
Considering rap and hip hop, amazing what he did with that. And all like the artists that are on there are mostly independent, which I love.
Right.
But there's a lot of verses I could pick. I think one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time is Change by him on Forest Hill Drive.
Okay.
My intuition is telling me there'll be better days. And with Ari Lennox in the back, just taking it. I just think that line suits everything that I have done up to this point in my adolescent teens. My intuition is telling me there'll be better days. My intuition tells me a lot, but a lot of me doesn't know that there'll be better days. I keep telling myself there will be until it happens. And then when it does happen, my intuition told me to. How I perceive it. So I kind of run with that. And then sacrifices. Sacrifices. I have a fiance. She's my ride or die. We've been best friends for so long. That verse reminds me so much of a verse I made a while back for her. And I'm not trying to like include myself into that, but listening to him talk about essentially, even if he's not talking about his wife, because we all know he has a wife now and he has kids. But listening to that really brought towards the eye, like people have been on Logic and Logic's and Chance case, which I love both of them respectfully, about loving their wife. But the way J. Cole was talking about it, like we understand that you love your wife, but he went more introspective with it. Like it was a little bit more personal, I feel like. I'm not throwing knock at them because I love them too a lot. But the way Cole said it is how I would see like somebody like Mac going on a song about sacrifices and making that. By the way, Mac, you need to make a Sacrifices remix to that. If you spit a verse, I'll spit a verse. You just send me the beat. But when I listen to that, you can't be everything to everybody. I want to be your lover, your best friend, your Batman, Spider-Man, shoot the rifle, shoot at the rifle's hand, then you kill you up. That whole verse.
That whole verse is fire, yeah.
And he has all the guest verses that are crazy. Bob Lobo's crazy. A lot's probably what might be his best feature verse, arguably, maybe. The stuff he does with Boss, obviously, they always make fire. I think my favorite of him and Boss is the one you pointed out, Night Job and Tribe.
Yeah.
But those three, like, definitely. And then obviously, regardless of color, everybody was bumping No Role Models. I don't care what you say. Everybody was bumping. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. Everybody's bumping that. And that's like my favorite anthematic joint of any music. So just like stuff like that is what really made me fall like deeply in love with his music. That's what really got me is when because I love the stuff that's like introspective and stuff that you wouldn't think about if you put pen to paper, but if you put pen to paper, here's what it would sound like. Stuff like that is really why I love hip hop.
There's definitely layers. What I would say that Reed, there's layers to hip hop, right? You got your bottom tier, middle tier, but when you get to the top tier, you start making people rewind and be like, oh shit, like what did he just say? That's when you know you've got something. And to go back to the rest in peace for Uncle Phil, like when I was growing up in the 90s, a lot of my homeboys didn't have their dad, they had Uncle Phil. Like that is real shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not make-believe. Like everybody didn't have a lot of my homeboys, that probably watches right now, like, damn, Rob, you're right. A lot of my homeboys didn't have fathers. We had Uncle Phil on TV. Uncle Phil was tough. Uncle Phil was compassionate. Uncle Phil was in your ass, but he loved you at the same time. What a father is supposed to look like on TV as in regards to representation in Black culture. It's Uncle Phil, like, you know what I mean? Like real talk, like, and that's stand the test of time forever, man. We all gonna know that verse. We all gonna know that for no role models forever. That's always gonna be solidified, that verse, man. So thank you, Reed, for kicking us off. And Mac, same question, man. Like, when did you first hear Cole, and what are some of the tracks that resonate with you? Because to me, like I mentioned to you all, to the audience, if you have not heard Mac Xavier and you're listening to him for the first time, I want you to go back and listen to his music. Go back on either whatever your platform is, Spotify, Apple Music. I don't care what you got. Go back and listen to Mac Xavier, because I'm telling you all, Mac Xavier to me is the parallel of J. Cole. He has a lot of the similarities. I'm not gassing the man up. I'm just telling you the truth. I would never gas anybody up for no reason. The man is the truth, man. So I want to put that out there first and foremost. But the question again, Mac, talk to us, man. Your first time I heard J. Cole, and what are some of the tracks you go back to, my young brother?
First of all, man, thank you. It's an honor. I mean, it's an honor to be in the same conversation in terms of style, or to be compared in any kind of way to definitely who I deem one of the 3 best artists of this generation, no question. First time I heard Cole, man, it actually wasn't a hip hop joint. It was actually the All I Want song he did with Miguel.
Okay.
And when he first came in, I was like, man, who is this guy? I like his voice. I like how he sounds, like, and I like what he's talking about. Like, I like this joint. So then I went and then I found out, okay, it was J. Cole. It's J. Cole. Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out for this guy. And then of course, Who Dat came out, and then I was like, oh, okay. So that was the first hip hop joint that I heard from Cole. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, I dig this. I did this joint. I like his confidence. I like how his voice cuts through the beat, and I like his beat selection as well. Yeah. And then I found out he was signed to Jay, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what this is. So he's gonna be around for a minute then, because if he got the cosign from Jay, because Jay don't give a lot of people cosigns, so if he got the cosign from Jay, then this dude legit. And then I heard a little bit of his story, what I'm saying, going to school, having his college degree, which I respect. Getting his degree from St. John's in New York, and living in New York, and grinding away in that studio apartment that he was in, and working as hard as he did, man, to get that deal, and going to rap in front of Jay-Z, and printing out his demo, and standing outside of Jay-Z's studio, and doing all the stuff that he did to grind the way he was getting to, man. It was inspiring, bro, for real. Right. And then of course, you go down the pipeline, Sideline Story, even back to Friday Night Lights. I love Friday Night Lights. Going back to Sideline Story. And then of course, Born Center. I love Born Center. Born Center was dope. Super underrated album in my opinion.
Big facts. Big facts.
Chain and Day was amazing. I love Chain and Day. I love that song. And then of course, like y'all said, to y'all's point, man, 2014 Forest Hills Drive is where you really started to see the maturation point, not even just as an artist, but as a man. Yeah. Because if you look at like the interviews that he did, like you can definitely see like a turning point in his life from the Code, the Sideline Story, Born Center era, where he was just entering the game and he was really trying to establish himself, and he was really trying to in a way kind of work his way out of from under Jay-Z's shadow and really be his own man, to the 2014 Forest Hills Drive era, and the era that followed after that, where he was really coming into his own. He was really taking a turning point in his manhood, and the things that he talked about, not just in his music, but in his interviews as well. And then of course, For Your Eyes Only, KOD, the Off Season. We know the rest of the story from there. Going back to what you were saying, Rob, being able to have have the level of success that he had with no features on his albums. That's a really hard thing to do, especially in this era where features are the big thing. It's all about who you got on the song with you. It's all about you know what I'm saying, how many people can you get on the song, who had the best verse, and yada yada yada. Cole was actually able to break through the mainstream and really touch the masses with that 2014 Forest Hills Drive joint. Triple platinum with no features, man. That's almost unheard of.
Unheard of. That is unheard of. Yes,
in today's
absolutely.
industry, man. It's like for real. So I respect the hell out of Cole for being able to do that and do it on his own terms. You know what I mean? And I think the off season for me, man, is always going to be one of my favorites because, in my opinion, even though Cole was able to really cut through the masses and really touch the mainstream with those three joints, Forest Hills, For Your Eyes, and KOD, man. Even though he was able to touch the masses with those, I think the off season, to me, in my opinion, was the first album that I heard from him where you could tell where he wasn't feeling any pressure and there was nothing for him to prove. You know what I mean? And where it was just, you know, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do the music that I want to do. I'm going to make the music that I want to make. And I'm going to have fun. And I'm going to show you that I am indeed one of the biggest artists of this generation. Because I think we were talking before the podcast started, before this episode started, like when Cole came out, especially after Born Center, like everybody was putting him, K-Dot and Drake as the three biggest artists of this generation, and rightfully so, because they are. Everybody was trying to figure out, you know, who's the best. Is it Kendrick? Is it Drake? Is it Cole?
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, up until that point, like that was really weighing on it. You know what I mean? And then after Heaven's EP, where he kind of addressed it, after that, you kind of knew, like, and even in the off season, like you kind of knew, like, that was the first time where the pressure wasn't on him, where he was like, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the comparisons. I just want to make the music that I want to make, and I want to say what I want to say, and I want to have fun with it. And even in the label they created, man, you could tell, like, all those artists just, they want to make great music and they want to have fun. So I respect the hell out of him for that as well. As far as the verses, man, there's so many, man. It's hard to pick. It's so hard to pick the one. It's so hard to pick one or two because there's so many of his that I love. Sacrifices is absolutely a big one for me. Because, like, you don't really hear in an era where gangster rap is super prevalent, man, and everybody wants to talk about how hard they are and how many people they've shot and how many, you know what I'm saying, how gangster they are. Cole was like, nah, I'm gonna tell you about how amazing my wife is, and how amazing my family is for sticking behind me and standing with me through this journey. And that's what's real, you know what I'm saying? To be able to, like Reed said, man, to be able to come across the way he did without coming across preachy or coming across like he's trying to sell you something. Like, nah, I'm just telling you how amazing, how ride or die my chick is. So for him to be able to do that in that fashion, man, was amazing. Another one I love Middle Child, because Cole really is a middle child. To be able to, like I said, to be able to be signed to Hove, and to be able to be of that generation, you know, coming up inspired by that generation, the J's, the Nas's, the Bigs, the Pacs, the M's, but to also be an inspiration to the artists that he's been an inspiration to, like 21 Savage and Jid and the artists on his label. You know what I'm saying? It's a testament to how dope he is, to be able to be in both worlds and really, like, learn from the OGs, but also kind of be a mentor to the young cats as well. Another one that I really love, man, like I said, Chain and Day was amazing. I love Chain and Day.
Chain and Day is fire.
I love that one. Chain and Day was super fire. And then, of course, the usual suspects, you know, the No Role Models, the 03 Adolescents. I love 03 Adolescents. the Wet Dreams, all those joints were amazing. So Cole, I could talk about Cole forever, man. But Cole is truly one of those ones, man. He's again, like I said, he's one of the biggest artists, one of the top 3 artists in my generation, of course, absolutely without question. And so I'm honored to be here talking about Cole, man. And I love what he's done. I love his contributions to the culture, not only as an artist, but as a CEO of a label and as a producer as well, because I think he's an underrated producer also. So
absolutely, could not have said it any well than either one of you brothers just have. What his contributions are on the production side. He has his own label. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But I want to go back in time to 2014 Forest Hills Drive. And the reason why I want to do that, you all, is not only is that an exceptional hip hop album, it showed, just as Reed and Mac were very well articulated, that it showed that I call it the time when Cole started to grow his hair out. Like Cole's like, yo, I ain't going down to the phase no more. I'm gonna grow my stuff out. I'm gonna be natural. And we saw a change in Cole, and that album just top to bottom. I mean, when the album first comes on, I think it's like a jazzy intro, I think, to it in the very beginning. And then it goes into I don't know the track listing off the top of my head and memorized, but what I would say is it takes you on the journey, man, all through his life, his first time having sex, or Wet Dreams, Tale of Two Cities, and then we talk, which has been made over freestyled a lot. Firing Squad. I love Central Pay. Like, talk to me about Forest Hills Drive. Where does that rank you guys in your list of top, we'll say, hip hop albums within this time period, and it's in between 2010 and 2019. So I'll start with Mac Xavier first. Where you put that album at, Mac, in that regard? I would say probably the best in J. Cole's catalog is Forest Hills. Now that's coming from a fan that loves KOD. So I love KOD more than Forest Hills, but as a hip hop head, I understand as objectively it's a better album than KOD. I just love KOD because I think it's the shit. But where do you rank Forest Hills, man, in 2010 to 2019?
It's up there, man. It's got to be top 5. It's got to be top 5.
Okay.
It's got to be top 5. Like, because it's as a body of work. Like you said, there might be albums that you might like better in terms of the sound, in terms of the production or what have you. But as a complete body of work, man, like I don't think you can find 5 albums better. I really don't. Like that album. And like we said, to do it, like everybody's on the episode has been saying, man, to be able to do it and have that much success with no features on it in an era where, again, like, features are the predominant. That was the predominant thing growing up. In terms of that era, like, who's on the song, how many people. Before you even heard the song, you check the track list to see. Or even before you listen to an album, you check the track list to see who was on the album.
Word.
And so for him to be able to have the success that he had, like we said, that's his highest selling album to date. And that album has no features on it. Triple platinum with no features. That's crazy. And that just shows you, like, how amazing that body of work was, man. From like we said, from Wet Dreams to A Tale of Two Cities to GOMD to Central Pay to No Role Models, man. That album was amazing. So in my opinion, it's got to be top 5. Got to be top 5, no question.
Max says top 5. Reed, do you agree or disagree? Let's talk about the time period of hip hop, but 2010 to 2019, all the great albums that we have heard. Is it a top 5 album in your opinion?
My opinion, I think he's top 3.
Okay.
I don't think I can find I don't think I can find, other than what we'll talk about next week, obviously. But yeah. I don't think there's anybody. When you think about your life, like, just think like how you guys live day through day and how maybe I live, like the lifestyle that you live. I feel like Cole put his best into summing up kind of like how he grew. Mm-hmm. And what makes sense is he grew from his musical side into what that album is. He grew into, I think right now he's like basically on the peak of his prime, almost.
Yeah.
This album kind of like was a turning point for him in his career, musical career, but I feel like all the stories in here were a turning point in his life. Like summing it down. I think it's top 3 in this era, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think it's top 10 album all time in rap and hip hop. I know people will get mad. I don't care. If we're going off criteria. First, he has no features. Second, it's 3 times platinum. That is so hard to do, even with features.
Mm-hmm.
Third, I think at least half of these are produced by him. I might be wrong.
If not half, definitely all. He has a piece of all, most of the productions. That's big fact. Production credits also. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I believe this is his first or second album actually under Dreamville, like where he was running things.
Yeah.
Fifth, this is around the time when Drake was turning into a big star. Kendrick was already on his way, and if I don't care what people say, he's competing. He might not think he is, but he's competing. People have him competing with them too.
Yeah.
But that album, I hate going on like Twitter and stuff and just like any social media outlet that know nothing about like the root of hip hop, what it takes to make an album like this. I hate when people are like, it's not a classic album. This is a classic album. 100% classic album. And I think he has more than one. That's just me. But this is his pinnacle, I believe, for right now. Yeah. Now, who can say that's going to be the case when the fall off comes? Because I heard, like, in the Spiral thing, do you think the fall off, he's been working on it for so long, you never know. Yeah. But this one, man, I got the track list. From the intro off the bat, boom, crazy. January 28th, one of my favorite songs in my top 10 of his catalog. Wet Dreams, obviously, people won't say it's a banger, it's a banger. I don't like anthematic songs. I don't have party lists. I'm not the type party dude. I'm the dude who likes to sit down and listen to music. And if it's nice for the party, all right. I don't party a lot. I just like making music and talking like this with Rob and Mac, two dudes who know what
salute, brother. Salute.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to, with Wet Dreams, that's one of those ones where I could go to a party and do that, but I don't really care for it. But it's still a great song. 03 Adolescence, very introspective. A Tale of Two Cities, he's talking his stuff. He's going about it the way he wants to go about it on a beat that I'm pretty sure he produced. Fire Squad, I love that track. I love that track. That dude's going crazy. Number 7, I always say Saint Tropez, but that's not what it is. What did you guys say what it was? It was
Saint Tropez.
Saint Tropez. That's hard. GOMD. I love that song.
We already know what that's all about. Yeah.
No Role Models is one of my top 5 favorite songs of all time. Can't even say Hello. It's all right. I mean, it's not crazy, but it fits the story scheme. Apparently, it's very slept on. Very slept on. One of my top 5 favorite songs of all time, along with that, is Love Yours. Yeah. I forgot to talk about that verse. That whole verse is peachy, and then Note to Self. That's 13 tracks by yourself. A lot of those you can play in your head, and like you're taking a walk with your dog and be like, he's very introspective. And then you have some that you can take to a party and people will know it. Like Wet Dreams and No Role Models. So it's kind of just like, how do you not say this isn't pinnacle hip hop rap history? When you look back on this generation, you're gonna be like, okay. And then obviously you got the stuff with KOD, which I think KOD is slept on. I think Born Sinner is very slept on. Yeah. I think the ones before that and after that are slept on compared to this one. But this one stands the test of time still for me. And it's 2014. It's almost been a decade. So
Almost, man. It's still and like you mentioned, Reed, I think that is his magnum opus in his catalog, but I still love KOD. I just love KOD. I'm just biased that way. But the last thing I want to mention about Cole, man, is Dreamville, man. So he had this idea, and I saw a couple of interviews with Cole early on. He was like, yo, I want to make my own record label. I want to do it my way. You know what I mean? I want to put people on that are talented. And Dreamville's probably got the best, I don't know, arsenal of artists probably across any other indie label that I can think of right now, top of my head. I mean, we're talking about Ari Lennox, we're talking about Boss, we're talking about Jid, we're talking about what's the other one, Reed, you mentioned earlier, the collective they have.
Earth Gang.
Yeah, the Earth Gang is like that collective is fire. So talk to me about Dreamville. This sweatshirt that I'm representing right now, Dreamville Records. I mean, it's just an opportunity for extraordinary talent to get out there in the mainstream. So talk to me about that entrepreneurial side of J. Cole. So we'll start with Reed first, we'll end with Mac, and then we'll close this thing out, man. Talk to us about Dreamville.
Man, I do think other than TDE, they're the best hip hop collectively record on the planet. Even if it's if we're talking even outer space, there's life forms out there, they're in there. They in there. But I do think right now, if anybody's been keeping up with Dreamville, and I know you guys probably have, everybody on their label is so good at what they do.
Yeah.
Like Ari low-key is a top 3 R&B artist on the planet right now.
Big facts. Love Ari.
JID right now, like I hate to say it, but he's right there with Cole in terms of rapping.
Right.
He's right there with Cole. He might not have the better catalog and he might not have the better songs, but in terms of rapping, he's right there. And Cole even said it in Off D's, JID the closest thing to me, which I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Lou, honestly, Lou reminds me a lot of Mac too, because Lou's very introspective in what he does.
Facts.
And and then Kaz. I mean, I took a liking to Kaz when he dropped that song with Cole back in Cole not very long ago, but it was Zendaya. I love that song. The way Kaz raps is kind of like how I write, kind of how I go about a song.
Right.
And then Earth Gang, I mean, they're like the Outkast 2.0, and they're from Atlanta, so I mean,
they
why
from
not?
the ATL, that's facts, man. Like you can't deny the roster you put together. And Mac, you get the last word on this, man. Talk to me about Dreamville. How important, Mac, is Dreamville to hip hop right now? How important is hip hop to our culture?
Man, I don't even know if you can really talk about it. Like I don't even know if you can really because anything you say, I think you can't overstate it. You know what I mean? Like anything you say, like it's like they're underrated. Like anything you say, no matter what compliments you pay them, it's gonna be underrated.
Right.
In terms of the way a label should be built, and it's weird because Dreamville doesn't even really feel like a label,
right? To
me, you know what I mean? It's just like it's like a group of artists that got together and was like, we just want to do music. We're just gonna do music together. And the only difference between us, the only thing that actually makes us a label is paperwork. That's it. We're just a group of artists that got together and was like, hey, I love music. Hey, you love music. I'm good at it. You're good at it. Let's do it together. That's really what Dreamville, and it's more like a family than anything else, in my opinion. Yeah. Even with and you saw it in the documentary, man, like the way they were able to come together and do that whole collaboration project, man. That was amazing. And that's I don't think that's ever been done.
That's right.
At least in my lifetime. I don't think that's been done in my lifetime. For them to get together and get a bunch of people, a bunch of amazing artists to come together and get a studio and be able to document that journey and document the creation of that project, which is an amazing project, by the way. That was crazy. Like that was crazy. So if I'll put it like this, if I could sign to any label, Dreamville would probably be top 2 on the list. Yeah. Yeah. Like that is either TDE, probably Dreamville, and then Strange Music. Like that's the list. That's the list right there for me. So Dreamville is extremely important to the culture, man, because like you said, Cole is put on a lot of artists that are independent. Like to Reed's point, like they're independent and they might not have the buzz that they would have normally if it wasn't for Cole. So for Cole to be able to reach back, man, and to put those artists on, going back to the middle child thing, for him to be able to be an OG and a mentor to those guys, man. Yep. And for them to be able to put together the collective that they have is nothing short of spectacular, man, for sure.
I 100% agree with you, gentlemen. And I'm going to close this section out. Just thinking about Cole's impact on hip hop and the responsibility that we have as hip hop. And I'm bringing it up 1985 from KOD. And KOD on 1985, he talks about the stereotypical rapper, right? You know, the tattoos on your face and you wilding out and all that's good. But he said, I'd love to see a black man get paid regardless. You can do all those things, but haven't you thought about your impact? I mean, like the way that he articulates that song, you know, whether he's throwing shots or darts at anybody or whatever, if the shoe fits, you know, you wear it. That's what he says on the song, you know what I mean, or about the song. So he didn't call anybody out, but it's just the way that we have a responsibility to the next generation. Like, look, this is not what we all look like. This is not what hip hop is about. Hip hop is a culture. Hip hop is a movement. And for you to have a young artist like Reed on here that is 21 years old, that understands the fundamentals of those kinds of concepts, to me is extraordinary. And it speaks to the testament of time of how much hip hop has grown and matured. And this has been an excellent ride, you all. I really do appreciate you guys, but we got to start winding things down, man. We could talk about Cole all goddamn day, man. We don't have all day, man. We got things to do, food to eat, people to see, and all that good stuff. But however, we have been dedicating all of season 5, ladies and gentlemen, to the late great Daunte Wright, the life and memory of Daunte Wright. With the hands up, don't shoot, salute to his life and memory. So, gentlemen, if you could join me with your hands up in the air one time, I'm gonna say hands up. You're gonna say don't shoot. We're gonna repeat that chant 3 times to keep the life and memory alive for Daunte Wright and his family. So one time, hands up.
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
Hands up.
Don't shoot.
Rest in peace, Daunte. Continue to watch over us, bless us, and all of the others that we have lost due to social injustice in the United States of America. We got to do better. We got to do better. All right. So, newcomer to the stage, Reed Stark's first appearance on the Diggie Intro platform. Brother, it's been extraordinary listening to you and your hip hop mind. You're now going to challenge it again next week. So, you all get ready for that. We're going to bring Reed back next week to talk about K Dot. But, Reed, it is shout out time, man. Who are your shout outs going to, family?
Man, I'm definitely shouting out all the dads out there who actually are in their children's lives, you know, making an impact with the young youth, everybody in their family, taking care of their family the way they need to be. I want to give a shout out to my fiance. If I couldn't do none of this without her, she allows me to do this stuff, the stuff that I love. My mom, my grandma, my aunt, my uncles, my stepdad, my biological dad, everybody that has been in my life that allows me to get to this point. I'll forever be grateful for it. And shout out, I always told him I was gonna do this to some guy, really one of my fans. Shout out Kyle Waters. I mean, not Kyle Waters, but Kyle Waters Slide, Kyle Hitchhiker, that dude. Shout out to him. I always told him I'd do it. So Kyle Hitchhiker, shout out to you.
Word, man. Thank you, Reed. We appreciate you. Mac Xavier making his 4th appearance on the Diggie Intro platform. He is an alumni. Who are your shout outs going to, fam?
Man, shout out to all the fathers out there, man. Shout out to you, Rob.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Shout out to all the fathers out there, man. Happy Father's Day for all the fathers taking care of their kids. Shout out to all the Black people out there, man. Happy Juneteenth. Hope everybody stays safe out there. Shout out to everybody celebrating our history, celebrating our culture. Shout out to hip hop, man. Shout out to all the hip hop fans out there. We love y'all. We love talking hip hop. I love being a part of this podcast. Being able to keep the culture alive and celebrate the culture and celebrate the people who contribute to this culture. Shout out to Reed, man. Welcome to the family, bro. I look forward to seeing more of your work, hearing more of your work. Shout out to Rob, man. Shout out to you again for keeping this culture alive, man, with your podcast. You're doing a phenomenal job. I only see better things for you in your future, man. Shout out to my girl, without whom I couldn't do this either. So she's been a big support for me as well. And shout out again, like I said, man, shout out to hip hop, shout out to music, man. Shout out to music. I love music. I've always loved music. I'm extremely blessed to be able to do the music that I do, and meet the people that I've met because of music. Without music, I don't think I would have met any of y'all, or any of the beautiful people that I've met on my journey. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to music. And I love it, man. I love y'all. I'm happy to be a part of it, man, for real.
Word, man. My shout outs are short. Shout out to Reed. Shout out to Mac for sure. Shout out to Dion Brown, of course, my brother Dion from DB Entertainment. Man, like it's just been a humbling blessing watching season 5 start to come down to a close, man. Like I just feel Like, wow, man, we're at the end of a road. You know what I mean? Like, we talked about hip hop since the 80s. Now we're in the 20 teens and it's starting to wind down. So I'm getting a little emotional about it. But you know what? That's how it is sometimes what a hip hop does. It gives you and pulls you in so many different directions. So shout out to you two gentlemen for spending time on a Sunday hanging out with me. Shout out to my family. Shout out to Jess, Miss Connect the Dots, of course, who makes all things happen behind the scenes. Shout out to my kids, man. Of course, I won't be a father without my kids. Shout out to my grandkids. Shout out to my dad, who's a big J. Cole fan also, and show me what it takes to be a man, how to raise a family correctly and do the best that he can. So shout out to my dad for sure, having a conversation with him today. But that is all that we have this week, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to come back. We're going to bring Reed back, and we're also going to bring back the hip-hop connoisseur himself, Mr. Chuck Platinum, is coming back next week. We're talking about not J. Cole, Kendrick and Lamar, K-Dot. I was thinking K-Dot. I was thinking J. Cole, man. I got my acronyms mixed up and everything. So y'all know my slogan, man. Stay safe, stay humble, stay hip-hop. 100, man. Peace.